This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning everybody. Welcome to Juma Private Game Reserve here in Saint. What we got here, a herd of elephants doing their best of feed, as it looks like it. Welcome aboard to your very own safari through the African bush. Good morning everybody again. As you can see right here in front of us, we're on a Galago Pen right now, which is north of Juma Camp. We got a whole elephant. Can you believe it? Right here in the open. Probably they actually were drinking when we got here. But now I think they're gonna start to make their way to the east. So I'm Andrew on camera. I have Simon this morning. This is where they are. Probably happy about. It's all herd. It's probably could be more of them around here that I don't see them now, but you can hear there are a lot of bushes going on. So we're coming to you live from this location this morning. We're happy to take your question if you can send them through or register on the Wild Earth website. Head over to the live safari page and you can submit your question there and we'll be answering them for you live right now. This one actually looks like they're gonna make their way towards us. They're gonna probably spread around, I think. Temperature of today is sitting at 23 degrees 73 Fahrenheit. I'm going to be sending you over to Lauren.
Good morning, everyone. We're just looking at a normal silver cluster leaf here. No story to tell here, nothing different. There's not a large elephant bull in the middle of it. He's trying to hide, so we're pretending we can't see anything. My name is Lauren. I do have Davy on camera today, and this is the same bull that we had the other day with lots of tears in his left ear. And yes, we don't see you. No, just a nice juvenile cluster leaf. We're just admiring the landscape and looking at the lack of sunrise. He's been in this tree for about 5 minutes now. So we're just pretending we can't see him. I think that's the game that we're supposed to play. But we do know that you're smelling. You see the two prehensile tips there? We're grasping. Davi, I think he's smelling you, but it's definitely the same bull. Got really unique tears in his left ear. And when we saw him 2 days ago, Davi and I, he was in must, for sure. So I wonder, must is a long period. Sort of, it's not a short bout. Males sustain must, it can be up to a number of months. Temporary madness in elephant bulls, but this is a much older bull. Not only can you tell by his size, if you also look at the shape of his skull, as they get older, the skull takes a sort of a little bit of a different shape, and he's very old, so I imagine he's a true gentleman. He's shown absolutely no aggression towards us whatsoever. He just decided to disguise himself as a tree, and that's okay. Why not, really? You can see his legs are all stained from his dribbling. I don't smell anything, though normally you can really smell a bull in must. And this is a bull that's been on quarantine day in, day out. Michael, I agree. What a fabulous way to start the morning. An elephant pretending to be a tree. It's a great start, and of course I'm sure you all know where I'm heading, but just in case you're not sure, I'm going to head to the Hyena Den. And then I will continue. Oh, yep, there you go. Definitely a must. Look at that. And what he's doing here is just urine. It's nothing else. He's probably not really in control of it either. And he's leaving his scent everywhere, so that any females in estrus can also pick up his scent. Females can look for the males, and males can also look for the females in elephants. So he's making sure that this entire area is covered in his urine dribble. And the females will know that there's there's a large dominant bull in must around. And because they've got such incredible smell, as a sense of smell, better than bloodhounds, they say, they can find each other purely through scent. And that's exactly what he's doing here. And it's one of the few signs that we look for when we're trying to gauge if a bull is in must. Streaming from the temporal gland really is not what you can bank on. They do stream from their temporal gland when they're in must, but they also stream for many other reasons as well. So what a wonderful start. I'm going to bumble off to the Hyena Den, and we're going to send you guys across to Pinda to say good morning.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to and Beyond's Pinda Private Game Reserve. Speaking of wonderful starts, have a look at these scenes with the 5 of these cheetah that we've managed to find. Not too far away from where we left them yesterday, but a lot of them were having a bit of a face-off with the warthog now. Initially, that's actually how we found them. And now all going about their business, the lavatory, and I'm sure starting to gather momentum. My name is Matt, and behind the camera this morning we've got Craig, and we're hoping for a little bit more action than we saw yesterday with these 5 cheetah. Sorry, not Craig, Owen. My apologies. And the 5 of them, now seem to be on the move, a little bit of grooming, much like the scenes that we saw yesterday with the lions, a little bit more playful, tackling and wrestling with one another, much the same this morning. But also, while some play, others watch. For things like impala, we saw that herd of impala here yesterday. So we're hoping for a little bit of action here this morning. It's definitely worth sticking around. You can hear the green wood hoopoe calling in the background. The birds also woke up to a bit of drizzle, but that seems to be holding off for now, which is positive signs. And all the birds just announcing to one another that they too made it through the night and through the rain unscathed. Also heard the distant cries of some monkeys alarming earlier on, and in the direction that was coming from, very good chance that it could be something like a leopard walking through the drainage line in the distance. Amazing, those cheetah on the right hand side, so well hidden behind that foliage, just their heads popping out. Linda, precious spots, absolutely. The 5 of them are all really precious. And the spots as well. A little bit of fluff on the back of their neck, still growing into those spots that you speak of. And slowly but surely moving in towards the more dense area behind us. So if they do carry on their path, it's going to be quite tricky to follow them, so we might just have to wait on the other side. But through there could very well be things like nyala hiding in the thicker vegetation. We saw warthog as well, but the warthog that they were facing off with was maybe a bit too much on their menu for the 5 of them. A rather large warthog. A piglet may be a different story, unless the mother of that piglet has another agenda for the 5 of them. In terms of trying, she could most certainly take the 5 of them on with the tusks that she has. But all just having a scan around now, and yeah, I think that was 3 days ago when you last saw them feeding with peat, and now's the time that they would be looking for a meal. You can see those bellies are not nearly as full as they were, but still some time for play this morning before they set off. A little bit of grooming, same as those lions, trying to get a little bit of moisture from the fur coats that might have collected a little bit of water, or might still have water because of the rain on the grass that they've been lying in this morning. But just nice to also nice to just sit and listen to the bird calls as these guys go about their business. Seth, you're asking how long cheetahs live for. Typically in the wild around 12 years. So these 5 have quite a long way to go still. And because there are 5 of them, the odds of them making it to that age are, I'd say, pretty good. Obviously, the more eyes for them to see predators and the likes coming, the better. In fact, on the way here, I was just commenting to Owen how many tracks of hyena there were. And, you know, they'd still be learning those valuable lessons from their mother at this young age as to what to do if they came across a hyena. But you know, the 5 of them, when we found them, all still good, not anxious or, you know, not nervous, made it through the night unscathed, which is really positive news. They are not quite a year old just yet, so they still, Seth, have quite a long way to go until they get to that age. Have a look at this one. Let's have a look and see if we can't see what it's pawing at. Maybe like the other day, a rock, piece of dung, or the likes. Love those tails. You can now see those long tapered tails that help them act as a bit of a rudder when they're running at those high speeds. Those black marks behind their ears, that when they are not even as tall as this foliage, around 3 months old or younger, when they're following their mom in long grass, they'll use those as follow me signs, that and the black and white tips of their tail to try and keep up with and follow mom. And now it's literally, if we look a little bit further right, just the black tips of their ears that you can see of the one that's still sitting up scanning into the dense vegetation. There it walks further to the right. You never know, they might have seen or heard something that we haven't now, that this one is now doing a little bit of a loop around. And the opportunities for them being 5 are much greater, I'd say, than maybe just 1 or 2, in terms of the fact that they can chase things towards one another and try to work as a team to catch food. And this one walking around as far as it is, maybe just finding a spot to play. Let me keep a little bit further forward. And now it just looks like it's going to climb that fallen over tree there, which would be it would be a really lovely frame in that tree. But not uncommon to find them climbing vantage points like that. And I think when the other four get a little bit jealous of what the one's doing, we might see Christmas decorations, scratching of the claws or sharpening the claws, another big old yawn. In that perfect little frame would be ideal. Let's see, it wants to, it looks like it wants to. I didn't even see that one pop out from there. It's going to, it has to. Daniel, you're asking if they'd still be suckling at this age. If their mother was around, no. They would just be on solids for now. They've come of age, on their own without having had that, vital part of growing up their mom before. I mean, their mom died when they were about 5 months old, and now about 9 months old, they would be fully weaned off and just on meat. So luckily, I guess for them, they obviously don't have that luxury. If they would still be, but they don't suckle at this age still. Going to see what the 5 of these cheetah get up to in the direction that they're walking. I'm hoping that they might startle maybe a herd of impala or nyala, but we're going to head across to Andrew and his herd of elephants.
Great, good luck with these cheetahs. Hopefully they get impala down there. Now we're still here with this brooding herd of elephants. And they are still, actually they're not moving very quickly. Thought they will, but they started to show very much comfortable. Maybe it's because they've been spending a lot of time in this area. We had them in the middle of the night, making sound, trumpeting sound. And I think it's all about grasses that they love in this area. So amazing that they love each other so much that they all take care of each other in this whole group over here. Even though they still mix with the young one, which is a young male. Many of these haven't yet been pushed off because they're not actually in the age yet for that to get off this area. Elizabeth, you say they're so cute. I 100% agree with you. They're so cool, especially when we arrive here. And they were all grouping in that little water hole. They always see the young one first going through to drink, and the whole bigger one were just, waiting on the far distances. And in a herd, it's always that they have to respect each other, more especially breeding herd where there's, it's all mix of young sisters, young brothers. Even though they push so much harder for each other, that sometimes they even make so much of a sound when somebody's hurt. But they have their parents to sort it out them. So when we saw them yesterday afternoon, those on the shore, yesterday afternoon, we had a glimpse of a small herd that was moving into the bush, and all we seen there, they were flapping their ears so much because then it was so hot. The temperature there was still too much since it was an afternoon time then. We're now still beautiful morning, and all they're doing, they're just taking it easy. They're not flapping their ears so much because they not yet feel too much hot. So I'm going to go follow up on the Tingana there where he was left on that mound. And I'm just going to see what happened, if he's still around or if he moved off.
Welcome back to Pind, everybody, where these cheetahs slowly but surely one's just popped out of the tree, slowly moving through these open areas, I think in the hopes of coming across something like a herd of impala, where one went down, the other's going up. Let me actually see if you can't get a view of that from the other side. Go slowly further forward for you of them up in a tree. I think it's a little bit too thick for us to see where that one is. You might just be able to see the movement of the branches where it is at the moment. As we pan off, you can just see a little bit of movement. Not the best of tree climbers, not very agile coming down. They make it look fairly easy going up, but coming down not so much. There we go. And just one by one they're taking turns. Have a look how they scan up first to see their route, and then off they go. Maybe this one climbs a little bit higher and we're able to see it. But for now, it's just that tail that's sticking out the bottom. see if they can't see anything of interest from up top. And the one at the bottom has found a bit of a chew toy.
The Hyena Den was not active. Misikaya, not active. I hate saying those words on the radio, but sadly, it was not active this morning. And I thought it would have been considering the conditions. The temperature's nice and cool, and it's very, very overcast. I mean, the sun is up. We are just not able to see it, I'm afraid. So I'm just going to catch up in the south, see if there's any information that we can catch up on, and then eventually head into Bufalsuk. They've got the Talamatis up there, and I'll also continue my search, my special search that I failed on yesterday, which was rather frustrating. I did give it my best. You've got to keep going, keep persevering. Excuse me. But we only really pick up signal on the radio when we get to the south. So I'll head to the south and see if anything is going on down there. We left Tandy there yesterday morning, and I imagine her cub was not too far away. Hyena tracks. Oh, hello. Davi, work your magic. A millipede. Not a centipede, a millipede. Easy to get confused because there's lots and lots of legs, but a centipede is not what you want to bump into. A millipede. You can. And sadly, this millipede also doesn't want to be on camera. The millipedes only start to come out with the summer rains. You do not see them in winter, as with most insects. And off he goes. Okay, down to the south. Okay, so we're going to just check around the south and see if there's anything going on. And we are going to send you down to Swallow for a very, very special silent moment so you can enjoy the beautiful scenery.
Welcome back, everybody. Have a look at these scenes. These 5 cheetah have chosen something on the menu that is, I don't think, on their menu, sadly. The small herd of zebra that you see, they're all sort of, maybe for them, very good practice, honing their skills. The zebra might end up chasing them, so you might just be in for a spectacle second to none this morning. And these cheetahs are still small enough for them to be very well concealed in this relatively open area. The one you can see there now, 2 of them now, creeping up ahead of the zebra, but the zebra are not having any of this. They vacating the scene. A little bit further to the right is one of them actually sitting up top a termite mound, which is almost typical of cheetah, for them to be up on a raised area where they can scan around for things like impala. Maybe if in this herd of zebra there was a young foal, they'd do the same. But a lovely vantage point from up there. I might just creep a little bit further forward. The other 2 looked like they were having a little bit more fun with the zebra, to see if we can't see any more of that interaction going on. No, more tree climbing. Have a look in this tree here on the right. You can just see the backside of one of the cheetah right up in that. Looks like a Timbavati there. He pops down again, but an even better vantage point for that one. Zebra now chasing each other. The cheetah, no, look like there they go. But you can see the zebra are not really having any of it this morning. I'm going to creep further forward because we'll have a really nice view from there. If I stop there, you should be able to see the cheetah on the one side, squaring off to the 5 zebra on the left-hand side. But now all 5 of them are quite close by. Oh, have a look at that now. All climbing the tree on our right-hand side. And that looks at least a story tall. I'm definitely not the most agile tree climber, but I don't think I could get as high as that cheetah. But easy to get up. Now, if you watch it come down, it's very, very gingerly. Actually, a really nice silhouette of that cheetah up there, and it looks like it wants to go even higher in that tree. No. That's incredible. Now the zebra are coming back. Maybe the tides have turned. There's still that one sitting up very, very close to where those zebra are now. We'll see now if they don't chase one another, but more of just looking at each other and maybe greeting one another this morning. That cheetah, yeah, now that he's up close and personal with them, has realized that the zebra are, or he's bitten off a little bit more than he can chew here in this scenario. The zebra are also not quite sure of themselves. Five on 5. Hakeem, you're asking which gender of cheetah is the more dominant hunter. I'd say they're both pretty equal at that. Now you might see them starting to establish some sort of dominance in amongst themselves. When it comes to hunting or leading the charge, the one that gets up first and initiates their movements or a hunt might be a more dominant one. But when it comes to gender, both male and female are both equally as dominant as each other, I'd say, when it comes to hunting. Male coalitions are also really successful hunters. And then females on their own that have to raise litters like this mom would. Both her previous litters, she raised, 100% success rate there of both litters. So, I'd say they're both pretty successful at that. Have a look at how close they are to that one now. All basically on top of one another. Stalk mode, let's see. Oh, bit of courage chasing them. There we go. And all 5 setting off. But you see the zebra don't run too far before they turn around and chase the cheetah. And then, there we go. Oh, panic stations here for the cheetah. Right up the tree, you see that? Now this... As soon as they turn their backs, the zebra... Oh, right up that scotia as well. Weeping Bourbean, that cheetah now is a bit trapped where it is there. The only way out is up. There runs the one. To the right. Also just finding a tree to climb, I think. Chaos. And it's amazing how close together that those giraffe are when they run like that. Obviously safety in numbers for them, but you can see when they run exactly why they call it a dazzle. And I wouldn't be surprised now that the youngsters are all separated from one another, and I'm not going to move now just so it gives them the better chance of hearing one another. But that one climbs down and comes back to the safety of its siblings. Not going to start the engine just because if they are going to call one another, it gives them the best chance of hearing each other. For now, I can just see the 3 of them. I know one ran straight towards that thicker area, but I can only imagine that it will emerge soon. But here come the zebra back for round 2, and the cheetah straight back up the same tree it just came down. Debbie, you're asking when they learn to climb trees. From, I'd say, as young as a couple of months old, 3-4 months old is when you'll see them start to climb trees. And just like the termite mound, it's a raised area. They would have watched their mom climb a tree to get a bit of a vantage point to scan for her next meal or a potential threat. So from as young as around 3-4 months old, when they start following mom, is when you'll start to see them climbing trees and branching out, for the better use of the phrase. These zebra are not giving these cheetah any break whatsoever. They literally have, or had, that one in the tree now surrounded. Now, as that one walks off, I'll be interested to see if that other jumps down. James, compared to yesterday, yes, absolutely. These 5 are super energetic. And now the one on the right-hand side, you can see calling. But the zebra now coming back, that one is still in the tree. I can still only count the 3 of them. So slowly but surely, I'm sure that, and maybe if I keep quiet for 2 seconds, you'll be able to hear that very high-pitched whistle that they use to call one another. More zebra movement at the back. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that other one has now jumped there. One's jumped down. Gave the zebra a bit of a fright. Another zebra coming straight back towards that. Oh, straight back up the tree. It's just come down again for the 3rd time this morning. There you can hear that whistle. I now count 4 of them, so one didn't join in the playtime at all this morning. Zebra coming back again. These zebra really are giving the cheetah the run around this morning. It's amazing to see, and thankfully that it's out in the open for us, because if it was on the other side of where they are now, we'd just get glimpses here and there of what was going on. Quite a lot of movement going on there. Now that I think they're all together, I'm going to slowly creep up to where they are. No, they are coming straight back towards us. These zebra are like the sheepdog who are herding things this morning. They've kept the 5 of them around that tree in the middle of that very tall standout tree. I think that's looks like a weeping boerbean from here. And don't get me wrong, the zebra could do some serious damage to these cheetah if they hung around long enough. Luckily, the cheetah have speed on their side, and you saw that jump now to that tree. It's unbelievable bit of agility from the cheetah to get back up, and not a bad spot for them to just wait for these zebra to move on from first before they come down again. Linmar, you're right, these zebra are definitely not messing around, and it looks like they're walking away and they're straight back. That one is still in the tree that we can see there, and I wouldn't be surprised if the zebra pop out in the same spot on the other side now, on the right hand side, but they're probably still chasing them in and amongst that vegetation at the back now. But Linmar, these zebra are not taking any prisoners this morning. The cheetahs just jumped down now. We'll see if it pops out on the right hand side there, but for us to try and follow them in there is going to be quite tricky. Looks like there are a couple of them at the base of that tree. I'm going to creep slightly further forward. But stick around for a while this morning. I'm going to stick a while to see what happens with these 5 cheetah and the zebra as the one emerges from its hiding spot.
Join our Explorers program so we can keep on sharing nature with the world. For a monthly subscription, you will have the opportunity to win fantastic Wild Earth expeditions, have access to an animal identification app, receive weekly highlights from our shows, and much more. All the money will go to keeping these live safaris on air, which in turn connects a global population with nature.
My name is James Hendry, and I work here at Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands on the western fringes of the Greater Kruger National Park. My favorite part of getting questions from viewers is that we get to have long and varied discussions about all sorts of different aspects of nature. Because our audience comes from all over the world, it's very special to have different perspectives from everywhere. If you want to submit a question on Wild Earth, you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to the Live Safari page and submit your question beneath the live feed.
Welcome to my car. This is Wendy, and she's my favorite. She would love to have your name engraved on her so you can be with her every single time she goes on a safari here in Djuma. If you become a Wild Earth Explorer, you will have the opportunity to buy an engraved tag which we will attach to her. We will make sure to send you a digital picture to show you exactly where you are sitting on her. You will have front row seat in every single sighting.
What makes Anbion Pinder Private Game Reserve so special is our massive array of habitats. And with that comes, of course, a beautiful diversity of landscapes, but also an incredible biodiversity in terms of plants, bird life and animal life, as well as, of course, our conservation success stories with cheetah, with rhinos, now with pangolins too.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
It's eerily quiet at Cheetah Dam. Of course, there's the resident hippos. They're always here. Why would you ever leave Cheetah? It's perfect. But otherwise, it's very quiet. Sometimes on sort of cooler mornings, you will find animals active, but not today. Although we can traverse Buffalo's Hook and it's wonderful and it's so exciting up there, I think Cheetah Dam is still my favourite and always will be. Oh, Davey's got a bird. Is it an Egyptian goose? Wonderful. Good job. Got a lovely view of Cheetah Lodge there as well. Now, I haven't heard anything on the radio. There's no activity. I believe Sibue went south and Tandy headed back up towards Gowrie Main. There's a chance she could also be in Juma. I don't think she's around Cheetah, I'm afraid. But for the size of Cheetah and all the leopardesses that use it is quite remarkable. And what's also extremely interesting, especially when you look at the Panthera data. Now, Panthera is an organisation, you can check out their website, and we submit all our data to them, where we find predators, were they hunting, have they got cubs, were they mating, and of course, Panthera collate this, analyse this, and produce outputs. We're able to view those outputs, and it just gives us a good indication of movement. Now, it's not... We've got someone coming to see us, Javi. A little red-billed, I think, wandering along. Got something in its mouth. What do you have there? I have no idea. Looks yummy, though. And yes, we get the outputs, we're able to read it, and I used to make territory maps out of this, but it was very much just based on movements. It's not exact territorial maps. I don't know what it has in its mouth. It's very proud of it, whatever it is. And yes, it's not exact because, of course, we may go through really quiet periods out here in the sands, especially during lockdown, where there were not as many vehicles and therefore not as much sighting information. There could be a leopard here right now and we just don't see it. So it's not exact, but it's a really good indication of the areas that the leopards are moving in. And to go back to my original point, what's interesting is very few males use Cheetah. It's like almost a vacant hole when it comes to male leopards. Leopardesses, yes. Sibui, Kuchava, Tandy. But male leopards, very rarely. Quarantine is more to the east of Cheetah. Tingana appears to be a bit nomadic, so he may cross in. But that's about it. I don't even believe Mulwati's really been seen on Cheetah. It's far too far from Hook, and I don't think any of the males from the south come up. So it's almost like this little vacant hole, which is really fascinating. But it's a small property. It's very small, smaller than Juma, and that's possibly why. Oh, we're standing up. So you can see how deep the dam is. That's probably at one of the deepest parts. But when you see hippos submerged, they're probably just bending their legs. Most of the adults can stand on this dam. You can hear the weavers are busy. This is the buffalo weavers. Always active in this dead tree. Okay, so I think I'm going to head north now since not much was happening in the south. But for now, we're going to send you across to Andrew.
Good luck, Lauren. So now this morning we have to change our plans because, well, Tingana is not the first thing. And then his tracks looks like a cut slightly to the westwards from that tracks or road we saw him. And we're on the west now, part of this reserve in Simbambile. Look what you find here. We got a southern ground hornbill hunting. They hunt by day when it's already daylight. They fly down from the trees, hunt for snakes, these snails, tortoises. And they can fly too as well. But they spend a lot of time on the ground. I'm gonna try and move forward. Hope it doesn't fly away from us. Got it there. Mary, you're right. An elegant looking bird. It's so beautiful. And then, I'm not sure, I only see one here where they in flocks, a group of maybe 7, 8. So it happens we only have one. And I'm trying to look in these trees here because there's sometimes scattered all over during this hunt. Take another step forward because it's actually moving very slowly though. That doesn't actually flush away their prey. And we're also looking at the male. You can easily tell where females should have a little bit of bright bluish on the under, just between this wattle and the joint of the beak and the throat. But this one is normal, so it's a male. Doesn't have those. And they do communicate, make sound, but it's very much like a hooting sound when you hear them from distances. You won't really will mistake them from lions, kind of like vocalization they have, that hooting sound. I'm gonna maybe stay here to come to the maybe left hand side of this bush. So they spend also a lot of time foraging. When they do that, it's how they manage. Sometimes they move far around here in all different group, where all ground hornbill, in a sense, we tend to also try and identify them, but they all, sometimes can be found everywhere around you when they're scattered all over. So I'm going to leave this hornbill, sending you over to Lauren.
Closely related to cockroaches and not ants, but yet look like them. Their numbers or their populations on Earth far outweigh the mass of the human populations. Here we have some very, very active termites. Very, very busy. You can hardly call this a mound. This is all fresh. This is a brand new start to what will grow into be, or what we know, a huge termite mound, or a termitory, or a castle, or a fortress, whatever you want to call it. And these are the workers. I don't see any soldiers, which is rather unfortunate. It's nice to compare the two, but these are the workers. 24 hours a day committed to the cause. And I've used this sort of quote before. It's from a book, it's from The Soul of the White Ant, but it so greatly describes the sort of termite mound and all its activity. So the mound in general can be thought of as one single organism. Why? Well, think of it as like a human whose organs have, not a human, but an organism whose organs have not yet fused together like a human. Some of the termites inside will be the mouth, and that's the workers here. They will act as the mouth and all the digestive processes. Then other termites will take place as the weapons, as the immune system, as the defense. And of course, that's the soldiers. And then the other termites will, of course, be the generative organs, the ones who reproduce, the ones who continue on the colony. And together, they function as one little unit. And they're so small and so easy to sort of overlook, I guess. And yet they're doing some of the most incredible work out here in the ecosystem. They do have a little bit of a bad reputation, but just for inflicting damage on human property, that's all. But otherwise, they're doing such an incredible job. And summer really is the time for them to send off their reproductive ones, males and females, future kings and queens. Winter is the time where they shut down, close their mounds, and they'll be very, very busy well under the ground where we are not able to see them. Their little underground portals will close and they'll only open again next summer when the rains come. They sort of rely so heavily on the moisture in the ground. That's a signal for them to release the alates, and that's the reproductive ones. And that's when they start sort of doing their construction work and their architecture, like what they're doing right now. They are building this mound as we watch, using soil, saliva, and a little bit of dung. And that's what they use to just build this mound. It's incredible. One of nature's great spectacles to watch it happen, and we managed to watch it just a few weeks ago. But once the temperatures get too cold again, maybe around March, April, we'll be pushed to find termites. They play a big part in the nutrient cycle out here, getting rid of waste products. Even though they're so small, they play a fundamental part in the nutrient cycle. They're also said to be able to fix nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen. It was only thought to be legumes that could do that. But it turns out some species of termites can also do that. their termite mounds are used by so many organisms. Look at our hyenas, our wonderful Juma clan. They're very, very happy in a termite mound. I think an aardvark or a porcupine got to it before the Juma clan, but still, they're very much utilizing it. And I didn't think it was active, but we saw alates streaming the other day. Lisa, you're saying they're such amazing creatures. I know. They're so incredible. And, it's so easy to just think, oh, creepy little ants, and they're white and not so pleasant to look at. But really, once you learn about how they function and how they survive as a collective, and it's really not about the individuals at all, and how they create these ever-evolving cities, it just starts to blow your mind. They're minuscule, and yet they create one of the largest structures out here. Come in all shapes and sizes. No one's a leader, no one's a matriarch, no one's the alpha pair. I mean, you do have the king and queen, but they're not really the boss, technically speaking. They're just the ones that are there to reproduce. Everybody has their role, everybody has their function. Each all equally important. The workers make up the bulk of the colony. Of course, they're the ones that do the building and the maintenance and the repair work and the feeding. They will feed the others. And I guess it just looks like a hole in the ground to us, but it's a lot more complicated down there. JP, no. They don't. They never rest. No rest for the wicked. They keep going and going and going. 24 hours a day. You may not always see them. They might not always be visible, but they don't rest. And that's why they're absolutely packed with nutrition. They've contain a lot of protein, a lot of fatty acids, all the right minerals. And that's why all the other animals out here just love to eat them. They're delicious. Even humans can eat them. I don't fancy it myself, but we could. They also they're really rich apparently in iron, calcium, amino acids, the building blocks of protein. They're a tasty snack. And we watched Corky's daughter just eat all the alates the other night, and that's probably giving her a lot of nutrition, believe it or not. There's not many animals out here that it wouldn't be a succulent snack for. They contain a lot of moisture as well, so they're small little packets of moisture. It's just wonderful to watch them at work. Okay, we are really going to head north now, as not much is happening in the south, but we're going to send you across to Swallow for a beautiful silent segment looking at the mountains.
Welcome back, everybody. These 5 cheetah have now settled down in quite a thick area away from the reach of the zebra that we had earlier chasing them about. And I think that's where they will most likely settle for the remainder of the morning. It's probably a nice cool spot there. A little bit of a breeze starting to pick up as well now. And on a cool day like today, things like Nyala and herds of impala could very well come past here. Inconspicuously hidden in here are these 5 cheetahs, so they could look to take an opportunity then. But for now, they look like they're all quite settled down where they are, lying down. I've only managed to see 4 of them, but it is such a thick area. I'm quite certain that the 5th is lying in there somewhere as well. But it might be worth, on a cooler morning like this morning, seeing what else we can find out. Maybe in the open, that crowd of lions. I'm not sure if they've been found just yet. But to head in their vicinity or to head back to the floodplain where we've had some good luck recently, might be worth heading back there. But for now, with all of them resting the way they are, I don't think we'll get much more movement. But amazing to see them being chased around up trees, down trees, around trees. We'll leave them in peace to catch their breath and carry on to see what else we can find. But what an amazing spectacle that was this morning to watch the 5 of them and the 5 zebra all over this little area that we are in this morning.
Ask for a link. Some warm welcome here at Ambient Ngala. We have one of the big male lions that is moving into quite a nice open area. And just on the road next to us, there's tracks of the pride. And what he's probably doing is he's trying to catch up with the rest of the pride. See how his head is down to the ground, so he's probably just sniffing. I'm just having a look. He's behind us. So I'm Nikki. I'm going to be your ranger for this morning. And on camera, we have BK. Now, if we just sit here, he might move to our left. Now, as I mentioned, the tracks of the pride are right in front of us here, and it's going all the way up in this direction. So maybe there's a chance that he is now trying to join up with them, as we mentioned earlier. So he's just behind us, sniffing the ground. And here he comes. So remember I said the tracks of the pride are just on the road next to us, as well as probably earlier on, some of the members of the pride could have even gone up in the tree line, or here in the grass towards the trees in the back. You can see these Swainson spurfowl. I haven't seen these lions yet, or this lion yet, but it's quite close to us now. Just scanning the area. There's some impalas alarm calling. Don't know if you heard that. That's him calling, like a little contact call. Probably just trying to see where the rest of the pride is and hoping that they will respond to him. Let's see how he's rubbing his head against that branch. He's probably going to pick up this tail and then scent mark against that tree. Moving at this male is actually over 9 years old. So I just want to loop back, see if we can get another glimpse of him. Now, him and his brother have been in the area now for just over 2 years that they've taken over this area, and they are the dominant male. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next couple of years, because I mean, for male lions at the age where he is, he'll probably have maybe another year or 2, maybe 3 left before possibly other lions could move in the area and start pushing him out. So from the two brothers, this is the one that has a slightly darker mane. His brother, if you look at the mane around the face and around the back of the neck, has a more of an overall blonde color. And even look at the scar just under his eye. I mean, you can be so lucky. Just imagine if that was an inch higher, like he would have probably lost his eye. And I do enjoy watching male lions, especially their faces as well as the scars on their body, because it tells so many stories. Looks like he spotted something in the distance. I'm just going to try and lower my head because he's walking right in front of us now. See how he's stopping, listening. He's a very big lion, this. Just look at those muscles around the shoulder as he's moving. Anna Maria also wished that this Rossmel would roar. Imagine him sitting here. This is that time of the morning we can, and at least he is moving. But it would be a very special thing this morning to see him roaring. And also imagine him roaring and the rest of the pride responding to that. How incredible would that be? And this is the same one. Remember the other day we had that sighting where the leopard was up in the tree and there was a carcass, and eventually he climbed the tree and stole the carcass. This is that exact same male. Can't believe a male lion this big is capable of climbing so well. I mean, lions in general are very good climbers. It's just the coming down part that's more difficult and not as elegant as a leopard coming down the tree. But otherwise, I mean, they're exceptionally good climbers. You can see there's also quite a big scar towards the back part of, you'll see his back right leg, just above that around the rump. There's quite a very prominent scar there. And I wonder, you see there's a lot of flies around it as well. So I wonder if that was maybe like amongst the pride, or maybe even another male lion somewhere, or male lions somewhere towards where the end of their territory would be, and maybe there was a bit of a fight amongst them. There's a Swainson spurfowl just moving behind that line. I mean, I would have been walking towards the opposite direction. But you can see the line's not even looking at that spurfowl because it knows, like, it's not really, it won't really be able to catch it, because, I mean, when that line gets up, that spurfowl would fly off. And also the other thing is, it's not really worth it for this line to even try, because it's such a small meal.
Sorry about that. Don't quite know what happened to Ngala there, but I'm sure they'll be back with us very shortly. Now we're just driving the cut line. Although cut lines are not the most aesthetically pleasing of roads or the most pleasant to drive, they do give a lot of information. You can see anyone come from the east to the west or vice versa. They are our boundary lines. They're actually the best place to start. So you can see, has anyone came in? Is there any information worth following up on? But other than that, it's very quiet this morning. I am going to cross into Buffelshoek in approximately 30 seconds so, and we will go and see the Talamati Pride. They're right on the Manguleti boundary, so it's quite far away, but they followed the buffalo last night. They were hungry. We saw them with blood on their face, so they definitely snacked on something. but they didn't have full bellies. They were not the usual full-bellied lions that we normally see. No updates on leopards as well. Oh, Davy thinks he sees something. Okay. He could be wrong, but you could also be right. Oh, have you just been conned by the bush there?
It's a bush.
It's a bush. Everyone, Davy spotted a bush. Riveting stuff. But in all fairness, we have this policy here between cameraman and presenter that even if you just think you see something at the corner of your eye, movement, or you think you see a leopard, which happens all the time to us, sometimes in low light conditions, believe it or not, it's really tricky to spot things. The policy is reverse, go back and look. Even if it's just a log, a stick, a bush, you must say, and we go back and look. Because sometimes, and very often, it will be an animal. And not a bush. But well spotted, Davy. Okay, we're crossing into Buffelshoek now. Wild Earth crossing into Buffelshoek. Let's see what we can find. We had Nsele last night, and unfortunately we were not able to show her due to our infrared light not working, but we're hopefully going to have it working very soon. And she was in this area. So maybe we'll look out for signs of her. Becky, I mean, there's only a handful of animals that you can really track here. And in the low veld, it's really only your lions and leopards, to be honest. I mean, you can follow elephant tracks, cheetah if you find them, but it's very, very rare for Juma. And I guess wild dogs. Hyena, we don't track hyena. So yes, it must be leopards, 100%. There's nothing quite like seeing a steamy, hot, piping hot, fresh track. And you just know this leopard has been here not long ago. And you get onto those tracks. That's a very exciting thing in the morning. Definitely a leopard. Although lion prides can be fun to track because there's so many of them, all different shapes and sizes. But for me, I enjoy tracking leopards the most. But we haven't seen a single leopard track this morning. So I am either on the wrong roads or there are no leopards. But I'm going to scratch around the same area as yesterday to continue my hard work. But then if that's really, really not fruitful, we will head up to the lions. Davy was rather jealous yesterday when I got the carmine bee eaters. So we'll maybe try to go to that area and get another sighting of them. I don't actually know if the Talamatis got their buffalo last night, but I know that's the direction they were heading in. It'd be interesting to see if they're sitting on a kill or not. Jared, are you still there? I just want to check we still have you. Tim, lions do not have dewlaps under their manes. I think that would be rather difficult to have a sort of sexually selected handicap. That's what they call it, the handicap theory. You already have this mane of excess hair, long hair covering your forehead, behind your ears, going down your back, going down your chest, on your elbows. That's already a handicap for this environment, and that's exactly what it's there for. It's a sort of feature that's been selected naturally through a process called sexual selection. But there's definitely not a dewlap under there as well. I think that would make life a little bit difficult for the male lions. Dewlaps, a feature of the leopards, and they obviously don't have manes. They may have a bit excess skin down here, but it's not called a dewlap. Lions have their manes. But the handicap principle or theory is a very interesting part of biology, actually. And it just determines those individuals that have a physical feature that doesn't necessarily fit their environment, or it looks like a hindrance. It looks like it would weigh them down or slow them down or just make life a little bit more difficult in general. Even the tail of the Hyenas doesn't look like flight is easy for them. This long, elaborate is beautiful, but it can't be easy for the Hyenas to fly like that. A shorter tail would make much more sense. And that's, of course, because it's a hindrance, and it's to prove to the ladies, look at me. Look at how strong I am. I have this long tail, and yet I am still fabulous, and I can still fly, which means I have the strongest genes. A lion's mane. Look at my dark mane. It means I have lots of testosterone, and therefore I have the better genes for your offspring. Choose me. It's hot out here in the low veld, but yet I'm surviving, I'm thriving, even although I've got this huge head of hair. And that's essentially the sort of fundamentals or the foundation of the handicap principle. And it's prevalent throughout the animal kingdom. It's not just mammals. Okay, I'm going to bumble my way through Buffelshoek here, and we're going to send you across to Andrew with some hippos.
Thanks, Lauren. Good luck checking around there. But now, a male hippo in the dam here still he's probably got back into this water to spend the whole day here. But he's very active, making noises. So that probably he doesn't like us, because most of the time when they do that, it's all about warning when they're not happy with something. So that's all about behavior of a hippo. When anything arrives into water where they're not happy about, could be a cat, anything that is dangerous to them, they would kind of like display, make noises. Carla, you're right. So a lot of time you get into the water hole and all you see, they're just all chill off and not showing any aggression of maybe distress. And of course, we don't want them to be distressed. It's so that sometimes where he's probably been doing this for entire morning, I believe here. Because as I arrive, I only hear the sound, there's a hippo down there until I come down here. Or it's probably maybe something happened that he's not happy about and he's still thinking about. where as a male, so much of challenge, so much they do come across when they're out in land, where they sometimes bump on other male who they're stronger than him. And he's so happy having this whole waterhole by himself here. So all happen out there, fight that take place is, when he lost that fight, he still come back to this beautiful waterhole by himself. Yawn again. So hippo are nocturnal animal where they only come out to move far away from the water during the night. And they eat grasses when they're out there. Feed on grasses the whole night. But early in the morning return back to the water. It happens maybe not into this very water here. If it's few waters that are no hippo out there, he will probably stationary out there not to come back here to the very same one. Okay, you say they're massive teeth. Indeed, you're right. Hippo have very big teeth. And these massive teeth are actually a weapon itself, where they don't use them for grazing grass at all. You know, they use them for fight, especially males. They fight over territory. Quite often they use that. Female have them, but just as self-defense also. When they get attacked, they were able to bite whatever comes in, use these teeth. And they bite to kill. And then now he just looked nothing in the waterhole. That's why they comes more dangerous to human when you don't know they're there. When the whole water just all dead quietly. And you find yourself in the middle of this waterhole. They only hold their breath for 5 minutes, sometimes 6. And the minute they take that breath, it's when they have to pop its nostrils out, check for anything happening around the waterhole. But it's quite cool, he's so displayful. Hippo, I might say. Patsy, so you're asking, you wonder if they can hear well. Yeah, hippo can hear well, but I'm not sure if they submit down because they ear there seems to be very much short when they go down, and there's system that does that, so there's no water goes into the eardrum. And then, but out in land or when they're outside the water, and the ear is not inside the water permanently, yes, the hearing is so great. Our sight as well, but also a sense of smell. Looks like he's probably have a lot of hours to play to eventually maybe take it easy. Where it's still cloudy, he may sometimes get out to the bank, maybe graze around his lake. They can do that, but always make sure there's water close by, as around the water hole for emergency. Run back to the water always when they are tucked. So I'm gonna try look a few roads this year, see if we pick up any cat tracks or anything that we're gonna put on the shore.
For the month of January 2021, we are offering a chance to win a unique Wild Earth expedition to the magnificent Tswalu Kalahari. From the ancient Kortai's Koranenberg Mountains to the southern Kalahari's red sand dunes, Tswalu offers what travelers crave most: space and time. The winner will explore this landscape in a vehicle, on foot, or on horseback, with a chance to go behind the scenes with Wild Earth and of course meet the meerkats. The prize includes a 3-night stay for you and a friend at the luxury Motsu Lodge, including flights from either Johannesburg or Cape Town. Open to all Wild Earth explorers who have signed up before the end of January 2021. Terms and conditions apply.
Oh, it's going to be in trouble now. Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. Here comes a hippo in too. Go, Impala. There's a hippo coming in. I can't believe what we're seeing here. This is what we normally see in East Africa. It's all over. Hippo leaping at the crocodile now. Everything's gone underwater.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I come to you live every day here from Tswalu Kalahari in South Africa. My favorite bird has to be the social weaver. The enormous nest that they create, their survival tactics to inhabit these harsh and unforgiving environments, and as well as their complex social arrangements, is truly remarkable. And the interconnectedness with the ecosystem shows us that we are too.
Catch up with the guides daily here on Wild Earth.
So we're just maneuvering our way around this one bush. So this male has gone down and is lying in the grass at the moment. So we just moving the vehicle. Let's stop here. So at least we'll be able to see him a little bit better. Now he was calling for the pride, but not a full-on roar, more contact, or like a lower, almost like a, I'm trying to describe it, but the word's not coming to my, like. So he was basically just making like this very low moan, like a trying to find out where the rest of the pride would be. BK is like asking me so badly to do it again. No, BK. This male looks so comfortable at the moment. There's just a couple of grass like right in front of this lion. Said maybe I can ask BK to quickly get down and go and remove it for us and then come back again. But he is very, very relaxed. And the thing that I enjoy about a male lion is just how majestic they are and how proud. There's very few animals that, especially like a lion, it doesn't feel like there's anything that's rushing him. It doesn't feel like there's anything that he's really scared of at all. But of course, as soon as an elephant or maybe even a rhino moves into the area, he'll move away because of their size. But sometimes he's not intimidated. Like, he'll take his chance, and even if an elephant's really close, he'll stay there until it's moved past. Unless the elephant, of course, turns towards him. Nikki, the general lifespan of a lion for females and for males are slightly different. So males, if they're really, really lucky, they'll get to the age of 12 years. They live quite a hard life. So the first part, of course, it's, let's say if we looked at this male lion's life, the first part would have probably been really hard until the age of 2 years, because almost close to 80% of all lion cubs don't make it to the age of 2 years that are born. And then after 2 years, he would have been probably with the pride, maybe another year, maybe two, him and his brother. And then he would have been pushed out, and then they become nomadic. And they just trying to survive everything they can possibly do in order to survive. They'll chase cheetah off their kills, they'll chase wild dogs off their kills, whatever they can possibly do in order to stay alive. And once they get from 6.5 onwards, that's when they become like really dominant, especially if there's two males. They'll try and take over territory. If there's only one male in the area, they're most likely going to chase that male away and become the dominant males. And then they'll reign for the next couple of years in that area. But then once they get past 10, maybe 11 years old, is they become, like, their condition starts going backwards, and there'll be more and more fight, and younger males will move into the area and often fight with them, and then push them out or even kill them. And so for a male lion to get past the age of 12 would be considered very, very lucky, especially in an environment like this where there's a lot of competition for these males to keep this area. For the females, on the other hand, it could be more. It could be up to 14, 15. There's some lions here that are older than 14 on the reserve at the moment, which is a really good lifespan for a lion in the wild. Normally the females in captivity, let's say if you had to compare it against a lion that would be in the zoo, they would get a lot older. So the females can get that then up to 18 years old. Where here, it's really, really difficult for those lions to get up to that age, just because of the competition. They have to constantly actively move and hunt. If there's any injury, they do fall behind if they can't keep up with the pride. So there's a lot of factors and variants that could add to how old they would get. Just listen to all the birds in the background. other bird you can hear. But I'll get back to a bird now. Let's quickly head across to Lauren.
I can't believe it. We've just ran into a hyena and dogs. We had no idea they were here. I'm going to have to call it in very shortly. We're at Kyamanzi. I don't think this is a Juma clan hyena. I could be wrong. Michael, if you are watching, please assist me. But I don't immediately recognize it. So this could be the start of us putting together. I want to put together a little Buffelshoek hyena folder. And James Richard, if you're watching, please assist with the dog ID. I can't believe that Davy and I just stopped and I said a hyena. And I can hear Davy say, yay. And the dogs. Now we're in a little bit of a tricky signal patch right now. It does get better. We're just in a dip. So if the dogs move, we're obviously going to have to follow them and...
Stopping for coffee at
Oh, enjoy your coffee, Johan. And yes, we're going to have to follow them and we may lose signal. Okay, I think they're moving, aren't they, Davy? Yep. I can't believe that. Okay, yeah, they're moving. We're going to follow because there's lots of vultures around. Something's happening. And yes, bear with us if we lose signal. You will be able to come back to us. I wonder if... Can you see blood on any of them? I wonder if it's the same pack from yesterday. I wonder if it's the Sands pack. Thank you, James. Thank you so much. It's the Sands pack. It's the exact same pack I had yesterday. And we're at Kyamanzi on Buffelshoek. They did run into Buffelshoek yesterday. We just lost track of them. Wow. What a surprise. I love it when you just run into things and you have absolutely no idea that they're there. Okay, everyone, we're going to follow. Bear with us if we lose signal. I need to get on this read. Let everyone... Kyamanzi. Okay, I am going to follow these dogs and we're going to send you down for a silent moment with Swallow. We've came to the dam, and they're all here just having a little drink. I've just given the wrong directions, I think, to the person wanting to come here. This is not Sussen's Dam. Johan, sorry, it's not Sussen's Dam. It's that small dam just south of Kayamandi.
I know which one.
Sorry, they're heading south. We'll keep up with them. And look at the token hyena. It's just remarkable how they follow. They have no, the dogs just ignoring. Oh, what happened in that puddle? The dogs have no qualms about the hyenas being here until they try and steal the food. Standing by.
We'd also like to respond. We're about 10 minutes away. We'll let you know when we're a bit closer.
Copy. They're mobile. I'm going to follow for now. Okay, that means we need to keep up with them, everybody. I don't know how possible this is. I clearly didn't know which dam I was at. But, of course, we'll do our very, very best. Yesterday we watched them possibly thinking about hunting, but they weren't hungry. They would have hunted those impala yesterday if they were really starving. And they were not. They thought about it, they contemplated, but they were not hungry. Oh dear. This could be a little bit tricky, everyone. I think this is going to be too tricky. Jane, you are happy to see wild dogs. I am so glad. I just hope I've not lost some. This is very, very dense. I don't know whether it'd be worth trying to go around and catching them from the other side. Oh wait, there's a bit of a path here. Here we go. Darby, are you ready? I'm going to drive you into a tree. Summer does not make following dogs very easy. So wish me luck, and hopefully I can keep up with the Sands pack. For now, we're going to send you across to Nikki at Ngala.
So we've left that male lion. He's not going to be heading anywhere pretty soon. Like, he turned back, he rolled over, and after that we decided, you know what, let's rather carry on with our search. Maybe this morning there's a good opportunity, it's nice and overcast, to go explore the riverbeds and see if there's a chance of finding some leopard. Now, the rest of the pride have moved more on the eastern side of. They've moved into a really dense area where we can't follow them. So maybe leopard, possibly wild dogs. These open areas are ideal, but maybe because of the lions being in the area, the wild dogs would have moved further away from them, because lions and the wild dogs, like the ones you would have seen with Lauren earlier, they don't really occur in areas where there's a lot of lions, because the lions tend to kill them. So whenever there's lions roaring or there's a lot of movement, they tend to move away. So, but let's carry on. As I mentioned, we'll head across to the riverbed and hopefully see some leopard this morning. Just want to say good morning to some of our rangers. Good morning as we carry on. Now we are getting to that Timbavati River, which is not too far. It's just down here. You'll see the landscape's actually sloping down. And once we get in there, we're going to head into a westerly direction. So we've been far on the eastern side of the reserve, and we're going to start heading more towards the central and the western part of the reserve. This is always just such a beautiful scene to explore. I just want to stop here and ask BK just to show everyone this river. I mean, this is where we're going to explore now and hopefully be able to see if there's any signs of leopard around. It's just one of my favorite things. We have a saying amongst the rangers here that when in doubt, take the riverbed. So on that note, let's do that. Let's see if there's any signs. I haven't heard any of the vehicles driving in this riverbed this morning, so it is a good thing because that means if we drive here, we might find something that, oh, a little slender mongoose that crossed the road. Hold on. But let's go explore. That's often quite nice about this riverbed is even though you can't see any water, there is water underneath all the sand. Like if you had to dig like a meter deep, you will find some water, and you never know, maybe elephants could come down, dig for some water. A lot of the waterholes at the moment are really dirty. Might go there. There's been a lot of rain, so there's no need really to come down here, but sometimes you do find like the occasional elephant or two that would move down into the river for a drink. Or maybe even you can see there's a lot of lush vegetation, especially a lot of reeds and some grass. Never know if they might even come down. Even so, some of the bigger trees along the edge of the riverbank as well. So talking about elephants, I just wanted to ask BK if we can just point out something here. So see, BK, can you see the game trail here? Just off to the left. I might have to move slightly back, this one right here. I just want to show all our viewers what I'm talking about with the elephant track. So I might not be able to hear because I'm going to unplug myself, and I'm going to quickly just jump off the vehicle because I'm sure you'll be able to see it from this angle if I move around. So I'm just to ask BK to communicate with me if there is anything. But if I move across here, BK, can you, would the camera be able to focus here? So if you look here, you'll see there's quite a lot of these big round shapes in the sand, and this is from elephants. So this is a game trail, so the elephants would actually use this to move from one area to another. There's a big waterhole down on this side, so I can imagine elephants actually feeding up on the side of the bank, and then what they do is after feeding for quite a while, they'll come down here, and probably the whole herd with the matriarch in front and the rest of the herd and the calves at the back, or maybe even in the middle, moving their way all the way across here towards that water to go and drink, and then eventually come back again. But the whole river is actually full of elephant tracks, but this one is just a nice prominent trail going down in this direction. Always nice to see different signs. And of course some old elephant dung around at the moment as well. Not too fresh. Very nice for making fire with 2 sticks and using this as a bit of kindling. Right, so let me try and plug myself in again so I can actually hear everyone. All right, let's carry on with our drive.
Yep. No, stations, we've relocated to this mountain on mobile in easterly direction from Victoria's East-West Junction, Southern Junction. Clear.
Jerome, it's a seasonal river, so whenever there's a lot of rain, it might flow. And the beginning of this year, or last year, I can't believe it's a new year. But so last year, I think it was February, we had quite a bit of rain. So much so that this whole riverbed was coming down, or river was coming down. So occasionally you do get that, but even with a lot of rain, unless there's a lot of rain in the catchment areas, it doesn't really flow. But underneath, I mean, underneath there's probably a constant stream of water. So I'm just looking up some of the bigger trees, because often leopard, when they make a kill, because of the hyenas that could be around, they will hoist that kill into the tree so they can't get to it. So driving past some of these bigger trees is often just nice to look into the tree to see if there's any signs of leopard, because often with the river, there's quite a lot of bigger trees here in comparison to most of the other areas. I mean, how ideal would that tree be for a leopard to hoist? There's quite a lot of horizontal branches for the leopard to lie down in, so... And one of my favorite trees that we do find in the area is this one that is coming up. Now I just want to double check before I claim the tree, but if I'm not mistaken, this is what is called a weeping boerbean. Now it actually is a weeping boerbean, so I'm just going to stop here to show our viewers. Now I'm going to just go back a slight bit because I think the light is also making it really hard to see the leaves. But this tree in the summertime produces like these, so they've already produced it, or like in springtime, they produce this beautiful purple flowers. And they're so filled with nectar that eventually it drips down to the ground, hence the name the weeping boerbean. But it is and you find a lot of the birds, especially the sunbirds, love this tree. Often you find baboons will go and pick the flowers, even vervet monkeys as well. You can see there's a few of the leaves have been stripped off, maybe from giraffes, maybe from elephants feeding. But an incredible tree. For now, let's carry on with our drive. As we said, we're still looking out for leopard as we go on this riverbed, and we just never know. Like, I mean, bush is always full of surprises. You never know what you could find around the next bend. But in the meantime, let's head across to Andrew.
Thanks, Nikki. Good luck with finding leopard. Here, we're also trying to find a leopard, which last tracks of Tingana, since he headed west from there, and in the western boundary he didn't cross, which is then he would be crossing to Simambile or Aratuza if he did, but there's no tracks of him crossing over there. So he could be maybe just still take it easy, or maybe he has a kill, because it was actually a long night for leopards to do their hunt and things. You know, but we're probably gonna have to find out. If we maybe find more tracks in one of the roads, which we haven't, and it happened maybe he just crossed it, couldn't see the tracks. But he didn't go to the west. It's very clearly boundary road there where we check. The tracks is not there. And what I seen yesterday about him stationary on those mounds, he's probably doing the same wherever he is right now. So finding him or Kalamba, because also the last sighting she was also in Djuma as well, so that we didn't find her again. Harry, so you say maybe the leopards are resting for now. You're right, they actually tend to take it easy sometimes when they have a lot of movement for quite a long distances. And they may take it easy, lie down. But what now we know about how they move around is that, it's cold. So unless if they're stationary on their kill, then they will be very stationary. But if they don't have a kill, just a rest, they may get to move again whenever they're done with the resting. They are nocturnal, we know for sure, but we'll probably come across them. So while I'm searching around here, I'm going to be sending you over across to Pinda with the storks.
Welcome back everybody to Anbion Pinda. We've come past one of the larger watering holes where in picture you can see a little pied kingfisher perched looking for its next meal. Out here potentially something like a little tilapia or the likes. I'm not sure if you've seen it on your screens before when they hover in one place with their heads dead still looking for a fish beneath the surface of the water that they can then dive on. Busy in terms of birds this watering hole this morning. There was a flash of electric blue that left as we arrived, which I think was a little Malakai Kingfisher, but it has since disappeared sadly. But there are a couple of African spoonbills flying around. There is a yellow-billed stork. There's a pair of marabou storks as well, which is I think the first time I've ever seen them here at this watering hole. Busy grooming themselves, getting those bills right up in those feathers. Some white-faced whistling ducks next to them. Black-winged stilts with those very red legs. Right on the far side are a pair of African spoonbills. Also just on the side of the watering hole. Egyptian geese here as well. You see them having a bit of a go at each other. And if I look back now, in the water there were actually a couple of goslings. So I wonder if they're not the parents trying to chase these ones away. But at this very watering hole is where one of the staff members here saw an African fish eagle catch an adult Egyptian goose. You see that Egyptian goose now bullied. You can, if I keep quiet. The white-faced whistling ducks just flew past. Now I was hoping that they'd call as they flew past, but they were now recently chased by that Egyptian goose, the bullies of the watering hole, those geese, that's for sure. But after the little bit of rain that we've had, I'm not surprised that we're seeing more storks, herons and the likes, with the ground being a little bit softer, easier for them to dig their bills into the ground and find insects, grasshoppers, frogs even, if they're lucky enough. And this watering hole, I haven't seen them just yet, but there are one or two rather large crocodiles. There was a clutch of quite a few babies in this watering hole as well, baby crocodiles. and then Hippo, which I also haven't seen just yet, but this watering hole is drying up quite a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if those Hippo ventured off to another deeper watering hole elsewhere on this reserve. Also starting to warm up significantly now, starting to get that very sticky, uncomfortable humidity. So I wouldn't be surprised as it warms up this morning if more plains game, maybe zebra, nyala, warthog, impala all come down to have a drink of water at some stage. There's the sun that we spoke about. And on the very far side of this watering hole, where those two Egyptian geese are, in the middle of them are those goslings that I was talking about. So obviously super protective, those parents, of their little goslings. Maybe that's why they flew across the water to chase those others away. Just sitting watching that kingfisher as well. It hasn't stopped looking for its next meal. And I'm really hoping that it does while we're sitting here, take off and hover like we spoke of just now to see if it doesn't catch an unsuspecting fish. Amazing morning. We're actually quite lucky that it's only warmed up now. We've you commenting on the kingfisher being a pretty spotted bird. It is absolutely that. It's a beautiful little bird that, in fact, that whole family of birds, the Malakai Kingfisher that we spoke about, that electric blue that flew across as we got here, we sadly didn't get to show you that. But the pied kingfisher, maybe double the size of that one, is the giant kingfisher that you get as well, with that rufous on its chest, that maroon color on its chest. Get the brown hooded kingfisher now this time of year up where most of the other guides are presenting to you from. You get the Woodlands Kingfisher with that unmistakable call and also that electric blue in their wings. I definitely think Leopard my favorite family of birds, the Kingfisher family. They are even just saying now, there are even one or two birds of prey flying above. We saw a couple of yellow-billed kites. There's a nyala coming down to the water like we mentioned earlier, coming for a drink. We have been seeing quite a few European bee-eaters here. This morning I haven't seen or heard them, but I'll keep an ear out for them. Egyptian geese, there flies a grey heron below us. Must have been sitting there the entire time. And also now on the banks I can see one or two of those baby crocodiles, which are sort of halfway in between that little middle island. Right up at the bottom close to the water are two little crocodiles. Weeks ago we were seeing quite a few more of those crocodiles, about 30, 35 out of them. But we're going to head across to one of the other guides.
They're moving. Let's try and keep up with them a little bit. Well, we found them, everybody. This was not easy. I don't know if I've still got a cameraman. Cameraman, are you there? He's not there. The camera's moving itself. Hello, doggies. We're now on Cheetah Cutline, and I know not everybody knows the area, but that was a very large mission, all the way from Kayamandi to Cheetah Cutline in a very short space of time. And what that shows you is that They move fast, quickly. I mean, we already know that. Look at their long, lean bodies and the way that they hunt. But they're not territorial. They can go wherever they like. North, south, east, west, whatever they fancy, they can go. They're probably just waiting for a sign now, a sound, a smell, a visual of something, and off they go. I think I'll just move over a little bit. There's other vehicles here just to give them a view. I'm going to pull up on the side. Don't want to block anybody's visual. So yes, that was a really, really long distance to cover in such a short space of time. I don't quite know how we made it. And they're now heading south, so being quite far north on Bufoshoek, they're now on Cheetah Cut Line heading south. They could end up in Chitwa in minutes. I think they've already fed, I would imagine, by this time. I mean, it's almost 8 o'clock here, that they would have already had brekkie. But still, they're looking, it's a lot of mouths to feed, an entire pack of wild dogs that are constantly mobile, constantly burning energy. They're endotherms, they're mammals, so they need to maintain their sort of internal body temperature through their metabolism. And what fuels metabolism? Food. So they need to eat to constantly meet their energy requirements. They can't afford to go into an energy deficit. And that's why they eat every day. I'm sure they could survive a couple of days without eating, just like us. Our tummies would seriously rumble, but we can survive. But that's why they eat every day, twice a day. And if the kill that they make is not enough to feed all those little mice, then they'll keep going. And they need to ensure that their pack stays very, very healthy. Okay, we're going to try and keep up with them. It's easy following dogs along cut lines and roads, very easy. But off-road, my goodness. I think we're going to get another view in just a moment. We play leapfrog here, so everybody's allowed to sort of make their way in and get a good view of the sighting. They're not stopping, are they? We'll try and pull off to the right in just a moment. I must say, this pack doesn't smell so strong. Can you smell them, Davy? Normally I can smell the pack when I'm trailing behind them, but this pack definitely doesn't smell so strong. Yeah, Davy's suggesting I go around, but I'm a little bit worried with the long grass and my experience with Kalamba and a pothole the other day. But I think another few minutes and we'll get a view. Luckily Marcel was on the vehicle. I'm not sure how we would have got out of that pothole otherwise. Okay, we're going to be able to get round it now. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. Okay, we're just going to give you the last view of these doggies. Work your magic, Davy. Look at them go. Okay, that was definitely the last view, I'm afraid, so we are going to send you down for a wonderful silent segment with the meerkats and swallow. Shaking his head.
Thank you very much. What we found here, we found in a butler eagle. Butler eagle sitting there, and we're looking at the male butler eagle by looking at the color of the bird. The wings, see a lot of blacks all the way to the edge of these wings. But also when you look at this eagle, and they're called short-tailed eagle these days, where if you look at them, you hardly see the tail there at all. Probably pitching there for a hunt by day, mainly by flying right up by sky and then circle around, pick up the thermos, respond to a kill, somebody's kill, scavengers as well. But also they can hunt for their own. Seen them do that. Or, feed on most birds. Those hornbills, rollers, those type of birds, starlings, those chance, franklins. And it's been seen actually feeding on even eggs. A carrion bird. Carrion. And they're always Kyle, it is such a lovely sound. The bird that is calling, actually not that butler eagle. It was a sabotalok type of small bird. It was right in front of us, but flew into the places where we can't see it right now. But that's where the sounds come from. Most of the raptor, eagles, those type, when it's no cloud, then they feel happy about that. They hunt very well. They also can pick up smells so far away easily. When it's cloud, they don't really want to do that, because then they weren't going to sense well, they weren't going to smell very well. But also they hunt by sight, but also sense. Such an amazing that this morning I think we are so lucky with this raptor. If you look there, we're going to take you right to the brown snake eagle, where it's amazing they're not actually far apart from the butler. But this one, when you look, they have bigger head as well. It's a bright yellow eye. But their leg structure kind of a scaled legs, which they only build to deal with a snake, most. So by sitting right up in the dry trees like this, they were able to scan around, see what any movement would make, and they have an incredible eyesight. It will fly in catches. So I'm going to continue with my search here. I'm going to be sending you over to Pinda with a cheetah.
Welcome back, everybody. We've come back to where we left those cheetah earlier on this morning, and yeah, like we said, not much has changed unless something was to walk past them, be it a herd of impala or nyala or the likes. Maybe they would have moved, but where they are concealed in this thick area, they are quite content. Lovely little bit of light that was shining on the one now that looks like it's in a position ready to get up and walk about. Expose it. Amazing how that illuminates it through that patch of foliage. Here's one lying just off to the right of it as well. More view. And then the others were lying a little bit further off to the right hand, a little bit further off to the right hand side. There's one of them up now and walking further to the right, and I wouldn't be surprised if the other does the same. Maybe heading off to a lower lying area where they'll potentially stay for the remainder of the heat of the day at least, and then move around a little bit further later on this afternoon. Amazing timing out here as everything gets here when they move off. The direction that one is walking off into, we just sadly won't have another view of them. Just a little bit too thick for us to try and follow them where they are, unless they pop out in the open on the other side, but I don't think that's going to be the case this morning, sadly, but we'll try. Maybe for now I can creep further back around to the other side, but now that pops its self out, it warms up significantly. If I just loop slightly further around here, we may, there we go, straight ahead of us is one of the cheetahs. Glimpse in the sun, walking further on down this drainage line, and that might be the end of them this morning in terms of us viewing them. But what amazing scenes it was earlier this morning to have them being chased by those all around, and now they've probably just caught their breath from the time we've left them to now. I can creep it slightly further forward for you. That, I think, might be a little bit more of a gap, or a better gap at least. One of the other ones coming up to investigate. Not the typical vegetation that you'd expect cheetah to be in, but here just a little bit more sheltered from the sun, harsh Zululand sun. All of them now, I think, have disappeared. In there you might even find some of the ground birds, be it, crested guinea fowl or crested francolin, that might be tucked away for the heat of the day as well, just trying to get a bit of a break from the sun, that these five could could hunt. There's still a little bit of movement there off to our left-hand side now, with them now being illuminated by the sun as they move from spot to spot. In the distance you can hear the cries of a crested francolin, like we've just mentioned. But I don't think these clouds are burning off at a rapid rate. I wouldn't be surprised if they settle down there for the rest of the day. Not a bad opportunity now for us to go past a couple of watering holes or mud wallers that we might find things like rhino potentially having a bit of a wallow in. With the threat of a warmer day, they might go cake themselves in mud. One of the other cheetah we might get a glimpse now as it walks back past to the left-hand side. But really well concealed in here, these cheetah. Out of sight and out of mind. But I can imagine everything else that was out and about during the evening. Lions, leopards, hyenas are all fast asleep now during the day. So a good opportunity for these cheetah to rest or catch up on some rest. But we're going to head across to Andrew, who's now having a search.
Thank you very much. So we're still checking around here. We left the Bateleur eagle still on search for possible more tracks of this leopard, either at Kalamba or at Tingana, because there's a chance also that Kalamba may be around still. And there's a chance that also Tingana might be around as well. So we're checking either one of them, find the tracks, and we can follow. We've been circling around that block enough to check carefully if maybe we missed a track that we couldn't see by chances. Might been crossed over to the other side, but no, I think there's no sign of track there. And that's why when you see eagle bateleur, tend to stick with them, because these are the eagle will show you if there is an neck heel around here. Levi, indeed you're right, and it's so beautiful, it's very green, and we're in actually summer now still though, where we are still expecting more shower to come, and this is actually raining season for us. So winter is dry out here. You always see it's browny, grey trees, all of this. You can't see any of these leaves. So all the beauty that you see about is because of the summer rain. So rainfall summer, dry winter. So indeed it's beautiful. Tall grasses also provide a hide for cats like leopard, because they seems to be very sneaky through these tall grasses. For them to come to very open, it's when you're lucky got them there, but they're more likely to be in very thicket, rivers, bushes. So they are so happy this time of year where grass is so tall because it's been rained or wet. So you're asking if the animal would use the same tracks every day. Depend which species of animals, but mainly general animals like impalas, those kudus, and elephants even. They're not actually strictly picky, so they would move through. If they ever move in an area, so they may come back in the same area, but it's not a path. If they would use path where then they're thirsty, they're going to go down to drinks. Many of these paths lead to drinking waters. But hippo, yes, they specifically use a trail every time they move, use a specific path when they get out of the water or when they go into the water. So yeah, not all of them are specifically picky on those, using, trails every day. And then also, cats, they would use the roads and of this path when the grass is wet, because they don't want to get wet. Also within the lines as well. When it's so wet, and nothing pushed them to do that, then they won't move into grasses. They'll stay in a dry place where there's no grasses on the roads most. Is looking for the animals, especially tracks. You track them by the tracks where they have moved through, especially cats. You can look for cats, but scan around in these trees, hopefully to see one. Hope to see one up in trees, but the track is so important. You miss the track, you miss the sighting, that's all. Sometimes it can be a lot of time finding tracks, but then you can also not spend the whole day looking for tracks. You'd rather just try something else. And the minute you think you're trying something else, that's where you find them, up in trees or on the roads, moving different way. Jay, so you're asking what is my favorite sighting? A leopard is my favorite sighting. I find it so much that they're my favorite because of, they more likely to do something while you're with them, and they don't sleep forever compared to lions, where when they're flat, even a day, and they will be flat for a long time, 18 hours sometimes. Or leopard, they can be slightly do a lot of movement, stood up, check around also, which they are my favorite sighting of leopard. Here we were searching where we thought that the lumber tracks lead into the last position where we tracked it yesterday morning. We couldn't find it. Instead, we went to find Tingane. It moves so much. Someone, there's a just kind of looks like a bull elephant there. We're gonna go visit him, and looks like just stationary feeding. looks like a big bull elephant by looking from the distance. One of those bulls that could be maybe just a few of them around here. Let's visit them. So we got a massive bull elephant standing right there in the open. But he's not only just standing, but he's feeding as well. Taking grasses at the moment. Which is now then he started to use a lot of these flapping ears, to control the temperature. Which now rise compare where it was this morning. Cloudy but then humid taking places right now. But this is usual for males, especially this size. JP is saying this elephant is massive. You are right, very much right. It's actually a big boulder. When I get into the full-grown size, where I have already learned axes around here, move alone away from the females, but they're rather hooked up with other males than being with the females quite a lot. So there's a system where there's a group of bachelor males together. But if there's other member around here, then we'll find out, because they mainly communicate when they need to rejoin up again, which they make sound. Adam, he's saying he's look uneasy. So what happened with especially big animals like this, what you see the whole round thing's ears. And without the elephants having those ears, then it wouldn't work. And then when they flap these ears, such a massive veins that across from the heart and to the head sections. So those are carrying so much of blood. And the height for that animals like this size would be anything from 20 kg, recorded 22 kg somehow when they're so big. And flowed so much of blood, but you know, they need to cool these veins down. So I'm gonna try to position here to see if there is a member of this bull elephant around here in this area.
Have you been watching Wild Earth and dreamt of being right there on safari with one of the guides? Well, now you can. Wild Earth is offering you a chance to buy a ticket to dream. You or a friend can hop on board a live Wild Earth show and join our guide on safari. The ticket is redeemable at any of our locations anytime in the future. Only a limited number of tickets are available, so don't wait. Get your ticket now and start dreaming. Terms and conditions apply.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at and Beyond Pinde Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on Wild Earth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
This is Rusty. He's my favorite vehicle and we've been through all the good times here in the bush. Now, if you feel a connection to Djuma Game Reserve like I do, then we have a fantastic opportunity for you. You can have your name engraved on a brushed metal plaque just like this one, and we will attach it to Rusty so you can always be with us on safari in spirit. We will even send you a digital photograph once your plaque is mounted on Rusty. Spaces are limited, so grab your spot now.
Hello, boy. You are a monster. And he's coming right up to us. Hello, boy. Oh, settle down. Settle down. He is very, very close. He's pushing his trunk against the car. You can feel the car moving. Hey, 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 hey. Stop that.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
We had giraffes earlier on that were moving from this denser area into the more open area. We just want to see if we can get another glimpse of them. If not, we are going to carry on with our drive. It is starting to warm up quite a bit now. I just want to have another look. I don't think I can see them. It might have moved further off into the tree line at the back, but we are approaching quite a nice open area. So open areas like this, often a chance to look out for those wild dogs that we saw yesterday and the day before, but also a chance for cheetah. Now, cheetah is an animal that's not often seen at Ngala because of all the lions, leopards and hyenas. However, they are occasionally seen on the reserve, and when they are seen, they're more in these open areas, often on a termite mount, using it as a vantage point to scan from. So we're going to carry on this road, and we'll keep a good look on either side and hopefully be rewarded with something. Often herds of buffalo as well is a nice opportunity in an open area like this. No, I can't see those giraffes. They definitely have moved off further, more in this direction towards the tree lines. We can't, unfortunately, see them. We've had, with some of these, we've had some cheetah in Ngala before. I remember, like, in the beginning of, or maybe mid last year, we had one or two sightings. But after that, we haven't really seen them, and especially now after the rain as well. The grass is so tall that if they are lying down, the elephants have pushed the tree into the road. So I'm just going to maneuver slowly because this is a horrible branch. BK, you still in there? So I just want to maneuver past there. So with the grass being that tall, it's really hard to see them, especially if they lie down in the flat grass. However, I mean, we've been really lucky. Whatever we wanted to see, we've basically got to see it over the last few days. So hopefully, I mean, today could be a day. It's warming up. Normally cheetah move when the other predators are not, as they would say, as active. So in other words, when the other ones are not really going to be moving because of the heat of the day and going to rest up, that's when the cheetahs tend to move in order to avoid that competition with some of the bigger predators. It's not always the case depending on the area, but often when there's higher densities of predators in a certain area, the cheetah will tend to move in the day and do their hunting in the day, eat, and then move away from that area before there's too much attention drawn there.
Sorry about that, Ngala. We still got it here. We now discover there is two bull elephants, but different age. The other one that we see here, it's slightly smaller compared to the bull that we saw first time, that was way too big. Actually, he's not cooperating. We're trying to get around there. It's one of those bulls that are on mast already, looking for probably females. So I can only tell from the distance as I approach that I think we have to stay away from him. Just to give them a little bit of comfortable feeding. And that's worked well for them to be far from each other, give a little bit of a distance between. And there's no need for them to push one another. We're always, this big one, they will push a lot of time to the small one to get out of the nutritious feeding area. He's got a beautiful tusk, this big one, and they're all length about equal. Well, a lot of the time, I think elephants, they're either left or right-handed in terms of Elizabeth. You're right. His tuskers are now thick enough. It's only the way that you tell from female to male. You look at the size of the tuskers of the animal, and then you know it's a male. Well, he's got a very nice, decent tusker, that bigger one. We're gonna leave them, sit around here, check the dam. Gonna be sending you across to Pinda.
No problem, thanks, Hippo. Welcome back, everybody, to Pinda, where we found five young impala lambs all together, no adults in the near vicinity, and you can see them all quite nervous where they are. And in the very same vicinity are a couple of other vehicles with a leopard, which we are hoping to go and find. So I think we're going to head on up to where that leopard is. I don't think it's walking in this direction. And yeah, we're going to see if we can't find that leopard. So hang tight. It's not too far from where we are now. Slightly further forward ahead of us. We're going to see now where it's going, but hopefully we get to see this leopard this morning. You have a bit of traffic. I might just loop around them. And straight up ahead of us is where that leopard is. I can't see it for now. I don't know if you can see it back home on your screens, but just keep watching in front of that vehicle to the left-hand side there. If that leopard changes direction and heads back towards where we've just come from, it might be in for a little bit of luck this morning with those young impala. But for now, it's straight up ahead of us, walking its way out into the open. Magic. Heading towards that marula tree, so we'll see if we can't creep further forward ahead of it to get a view of this leopard for you this morning. It's stopped briefly, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Just stop and switch off and see if we can't see what it's looking at. Out here could be the rest of that herd of impala that we saw the youngsters of just now. But have a look at that, everybody. There's cooler weather this morning, and we've managed to find a leopard. Amazing. What an absolute treat of a morning we're having. Flash on the back, on the underneath side of the tail, very, very white, and just so graceful and elegant. And leopards, I think, you see how she pauses briefly just as she comes into another clearing, stops and scans to make sure the coast is clear, see if she can spot a potential meal, and then carries on slowly. Those rosettes, as opposed to those black spots behind the cheetah's ears, the leopard, you can see, has got the white spots, those really long whiskers, but so well camouflaged. And have a look at that tail. That tail never stops. A bit of a raised area with that termite mound there towards where she's going now. Might just have to do this for you to get another view. Well, no. Grant, Matt Grant. Make it. It'll be interesting to see where she ends up. But the area towards where she's going. Oopsie.
Matt, go ahead.
Make your way.
Copy that.
Bubbles, you're asking what the tail movement indicates. For a leopard, just busy and active, on the move. It's, yeah, sign that she's, I'm hoping now, oh, look at that. She's gone right up that marula tree. Let's see if we can't get a view of that quickly. But Bubbles, that movement, yeah, just, I think, a happy leopard up in the marula tree with that backdrop is going to provide for one really amazing sighting. She's going to climb even higher. Have a look at that, everybody. Unbelievable. there having a thorough scan around of her surroundings, and just beautiful. That picturesque image of a leopard up in a tree and a marula tree. Having a thorough scan around. Mouth open, panting. Obviously it's warmed up quite a bit now, so she just has to rest, catch her breath. But from up there, what a spot to do it from, and what a vantage point looking back over the south of this reserve. Compared to the cheetah that we saw earlier, such a graceful climb up that tree as well. Almost made it look effortless, and I wonder if she's not going to look back left again for us. Draped over that branch like that is magic. Earlier on driving past, if you had driven past this, might have been a little bit easier to see, but as she was on the ground, quite a bit more tricky. And this, for everyone at home who's been watching, is the Tomokosi female leopard who resides in this area, or at least her territory is in this area of the reserve. You can see the white underneath her chest now, underneath her neck, and those spots just above the whiskers, which are, you know, an indication of which one she is, or one of the identification methods that you can use to identify different individual animals. But those paws there that are draped now, you won't be able to see their claws, as opposed to the cheetah that we saw earlier, because they've got those retractable claws. Bit of a reshuffle in the tree again, resting her head. She's found what looks like such a comfortable spot in that marula tree. Neck literally draped over where she is now. Bubbles that tail still twitching about. Sarah, you're asking if she can attack from the tree. Absolutely she can. And maybe not this tree, because she sticks out like a bit of a sore thumb for things like Nyala or Impala that could pass by from underneath. But for, you know, trees like sausage trees or trees that provide a bit more vegetation or more dense coverage for them, absolutely, if things seek shelter during the day, she could jump down unsuspectingly and pounce on an impala if it was to pass by. So absolutely she could hunt from that perch above. I don't think she will now, though. She is quite exposed where she is, so maybe just having a scan around for something like those 5 impala that we saw earlier, to see if they are not perhaps still in the vicinity and close by, or perhaps another herd of impala that she might have seen, even a warthog maybe passing through, or nyala out here. It could be a whole array of things that could pass by, or that she could spot from up there. But panting quite heavily, looking at that belly that's sort of draped over the branch in the middle as well. I wouldn't be surprised if she ate something or caught something last night during that little bit of rain. And yeah, just moving that rain would have obviously washed away a lot of her scent marking posts, and then she has to go back and scent mark along her territory quite regularly. Or at least once it's been washed away by some rain. But now quite a strong steady breeze blowing. You can see the leaves of that tree moving quite a bit, and yeah, where she is away from those little biting flies, probably really comfortable up there for the time being. Most stunning cat, this. Gilly, you're asking how far out she can see. Probably just as far as we can see out, but with a lot more clarity and detail as she spots things with the sun that would illuminate things like a herd of impala as they move past from one spot to another, that are illuminated by the sun that keeps poking its nose out. She can probably see for quite a distance, and a lot more detail than we can with the naked eye. Luckily, we've got our binoculars here that we can use to scan with in the areas surrounding this leopard. And Murphy's Law, every other day you drive past here, Kelly, there are herds of impala in this area. There's a watering hole just down below, so an ideal spot for her to have a territory, and her mom would have given her a portion of her territory to get going and started. But for now, just resting where she is, I think quite content. Have a look at that face up in that tree. We have had an incredible morning this morning. Incredibly lucky to have witnessed those cheetah getting chased by a zebra, and then to end it off, or close to ending it off, with this leopard up in the Marula. And what a magnificent sight. I don't think I've ever been lucky enough to have a leopard on one of my drives, so an incredibly special morning this morning with this leopard. Amazing just to watch her as well, in and out of consciousness. Now it looks, as she puts her head down on her paw, might start dozing off a little bit, but constantly just scanning around. And those incredibly long whiskers that you see on her face as well, those legs draped over the branch at the back there, with the tail dangling on the other side too. That is super special. And for Phinda, which is not well known for its leopard viewing at all, to see one like this up in a tree and as relaxed as it is incredible to witness. A good few years ago, this was never the case with leopard. It always used to be a flash across the road, if anything, but luckily the one or two that are here that are quite relaxed around the vehicles and habituated towards the vehicles provide for some really amazing game viewing. You would have seen a couple with Grant also not so long ago. I think he in the one episode managed to get this particular female and her mom in the same episode. They were a couple of 100 meters away from one another. Where she's lying, you can see parts of her belly also quite exposed to the sun, or at least getting a bit of sunlight on them. So she might warm up during the day, she might climb down, she might lie in the shade of one of the trees in the area. No real need for her to stay up there all day. And because we don't have the biggest hyena population, like you saw with, I think it was Lauren and her wild dogs, with the hyena chasing or following suit behind the wild dogs, the leopards and the lions and the cheetah don't really have that issue here with them being followed by hyenas very often. So for them to lie on the floor is really not uncommon at all. Those eyes, they've got the most striking eyes, slight tinge of pink on the nose as well. There you can see the panting now that it's starting to heat up considerably. Those teeth, you see those canines, those incredibly sharp canines that she'll use to suffocate animals. And that tail again, always busy. Just see the end of it twitching slightly from side to side. What a graceful and elegant cat that. Unbelievable. We have been so spoiled this morning. She keeps looking down. Oh, another big old yawn. Or not another one, just a big old yawn. I wouldn't be surprised now if she... Potentially that's, her just having a bit of a shock of oxygen to the brain. What I might do is leave her in peace. I know there are a couple of other guys that are quite keen to come and have a look. Leave her in peace and we'll carry on and see what else we can find between now and the end of the show. But we're going to head across to Andrew. Sorry, bro. We were, mate.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck looking around and with the leopard. So it's about the same with us here. We're checking for anything we possibly can, but it's actually very hard to see these tracks of these leopards. We're just scanning around here, checking on top of this tree, since there's no tracks coming out. And wherever he is, that Tingana is probably doing the same as yesterday, probably in tall grasses. Maybe where it's not actually easy for us to see. Now we're just gonna try to see if we can have a spider web that looks like it's probably an older spider web over here, but it's still active. Community spider. As you can see, a whole nest. And they're probably inside right now. That is still active by looking at the whole web around it. That they still actually rebuild up. Wind is blowing so strong there, but that specific nest, it's quite a lot of them inside, so the whole web around it, that's a whole net, and the prey has been captured during a flight when all the insects fly across that or stuck. Small bird or stuck there too. Trying to see if I would see anyone sticking their heads out there. And they're so small, like the size of fly creature. And there are tons of them inside. Whenever they have so again, you say it's actually look very messy, you're right, but it looks like it there. In all these nest, what you see, the brown structures and all remain of an older beetles that dried out, rot outside the nest. But again, it's been combined with this web during the building. That nest, so it's waterproof itself outside, where there's no water can actually get in. And they're in there, they come out, they're all just gonna check the net that they have built up, repair it if it's any damage. Like it's windy now, it's probably gonna damage a little bit though. And at night they will come out, or when they want to, when it's humid. During the day it's quiet for them to come out. trying to figure out if I'm seeing one yet, but maybe there is one. And they're slightly up a bit. Same one, maybe a little bit up. Yeah, they're on the right end of the top screen. Maybe it's not, I'm not sure. But more to the right bit, maybe. No, maybe there wasn't. So yeah, they're a tiny little thing. So all of these dead grasshoppers and all combined of small beetles all been dragged down to their entrance and been eaten, and the shell remain. They don't throw it out or get it rid out of that. So it's also the next time it's going to be part of their material nest that they have been used in this. And they're actually not the deadly spider. They're not actually venomous. So whatever caught, if it's no wind and they all died quietly, they would probably feel all vibration inside the nest. This is where they know there's something stuck out there, and they all come out and trying to see where it is and grab it and feed on it. So I'm gonna carry on doing my search around here for the leopard again.
So we just stopped here. There's a very interesting tree. What I'm going to quickly do is just collect the fruit, and I'll be back right now. So you'll notice there's quite a few red fruits on this particular tree here. So this is known as a sour plum, but it's packed with vitamin C, and of course, hence the name sour plum, quite sour. So let me just quickly come back, plug myself in, so I can hear everyone at least. Just turn around. So the best way to eat this is if you take the skin, because the skin's quite bitter, and you peel the top part. So let me just do this quickly. It's easier normally with my teeth. So I'll just peel it like that, and then from here on, so I'm just going to open up. From here on, you'll squeeze it, and then you'll eat this here. It does have a hard pip around it, but you can just eat all the way around it, and then from there on, like, just spit out the pip. But I'm going to try it. Like, normally it's quite sour, so here we go. It's quite nice, but I can't hold it in for too long. I'm not a person for sour. Wow. That's really, really sour. And that's all from the sour plum. Oh, quite nice little treat. So some of the antelope, especially kudus, absolutely love them. Definitely got my vitamin C dose in for the day.
Just a little update from my side. The dogs went flat at Torchwood Dam. It was one of the most wonderful sightings of them, but sadly it's just a black spot in terms of signal. There's just some areas that no matter I'm actually not going to get technical. It's not worth it. But it's a black spot. We just spent a few minutes with Kanyeni and Cup. Now they're at Kudu Corner, which is really close to the KNP boundary, and I just wanted to head there to see if we have signal. We don't know. So we may as well just check. Do we have signal? Do we not? And we didn't. I'm sorry, everyone. I am trying very hard to get a few. There's a handful of leopards that you may have never seen before. They're quite prominent characters in the area, but they just don't quite traverse the areas that we need them to. But I'm going to keep working on it. Got about 10 days left before Tristan and Steve come back in, and I'm determined I will get them one day. So Ikanyeni and Cub are on a kill at Kudu Corner. So we're heading back into camp now, I'm afraid. But it leaves good prospects for the afternoon that the dogs are on Torchwood. It was such a surprise find this morning, and we did very well to keep up with them. It's not easy. And I believe the hyena that we saw is actually a hyena that has been seen regularly up in Buffelshoek. So it doesn't appear to be part of the Juma clan, and I'm sure it's not. But it has been sighted fairly regularly up in Buffelshoek, and believe it or not, it's always been sighted with dogs. Surprising, huh? They're little creatures of habits, hyena. They'll always follow the dogs, especially if it results in a free meal. I mean, why not? Elizabeth, I agree. Great time with the doggies. It's not easy following them, but when you really do get to see them, it's so wonderful. And I think they had already hunted this morning, so they were also not so hungry. And once the sun starts to burst through like this, and it gets too hot, they'll just go completely flat. So they are diurnal, but they're normally the most active between... What bird is this? I actually don't know. I'm going to be honest enough to say that I don't know what bird this is. Oh, it's a cuckoo. Yay, a Deirdre's cuckoo, my first one. It was actually the glinting green that caught my eyes. I think it is anyway. The sun has all of a sudden decided to pop out. Deirdre cuckoo, I'm sure it is. It's smaller than the Jacobin. It's got a very distinctive emerald green colour, a white band going across the eye, and a red eye it is. It's a Deirdre's cuckoo, the male. The male is far more sort of elaborately coloured than the female. Yay, another new bird for my list. They've got quite an iconic call as well. Or something along those lines. I can't play it on my phone because the actual animal is right here. But it's a brood parasite. They're well known for being brood parasites, which means the female lays her eggs in the nest of other species. And they've got quite a wide range of species that they use to rear their own chicks, including the bishops, weavers, believe it or not, certain species of weavers, and sparrows. Parasitism in birds, especially brood parasitism, is fascinating. It really goes on that argument of nature versus nurture, because they still grow up to be cuckoos. They've been reared by a completely different species that's not even closely related, and yet they grow up to behave, act, and be a cuckoo, even though they've had no maternal influence at all from the mother cuckoo. And that's nature at work, no nurture, that's genetics. And those chicks that are born in the nest of another still grow up to become cuckoos and brood parasites themselves. So they have that wired into their DNA to become the brood parasite. Can you hear it? Dee, 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 dee. The bird actually does it far better than myself, can you believe that? But still, I'm getting there. What a great end. So sorry we weren't able to get Kanyeni for you, but I'm sure there's great prospects for this afternoon. So thank you all for jumping on board. Have a great day.
Of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it looks like I am